Professor Marathi is joining. Once he joins, we'll start the session. All right. Yes, Srivatsa, please go ahead. I'm just getting sir's concern resolved. There seems to be a problem with the account. Yeah. Okay. Srivatsa, please.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Professor Rahul Parathe would be joining in a bit of time. So before that, we may possibly look at week 6 practice assignment and how do we solve that. So let me share my screen. So this was the practice assignment from week 6, where multiple linear regression was discussed. So you are conducting a multiple linear regression with sales as the dependent variable, and price, quantity, and rating score are the independent variables. So the first question for you is to calculate the variance inflation factor for the variable quantity. So if you want to calculate the VIF for the particular variable quantity, what you do is you have that as the dependent variable and other variables as independent variables, right? That is how you calculate the variance inflation factor. And it turns out that when you do that, you obtain an R squared of 0.43 for this particular regression. So if you are given the R squared of 0.43, then the question is, what is the VIF for the variable quantity? And how do you do that? Is by using the formula 1 by 1 minus R square. And when you do 1 by 1 minus R square, you get 1.75. And that is the variance inflation factor in this case, right? So this was the first question, a pretty straightforward one. And in case of the second question, you are given the following data where you know the direct effect of price on sales. Sales is the dependent variable. You know the direct effect of price on sales. You also know the direct effect of quantity on sales and the direct effect of rating score on sales. Now, an additional information is given to you. You know that the effect of price on quantity is 0.22 and the effect of price on rating score is 0.1, right? If that is the case, the question is to find the total effect of price on sales. And the question, you have the direct effect, which is 0.34. Then you have two indirect effects, which is coming via rating score and via quantity, right? So you know the direct effect of price. You want to know the indirect effect of price on sales, which is via quantity and rating score. So how do you calculate these indirect effects is to multiply this 0.22, which is the direct effect of quantity on sales, with 0.22, which is the effect of price on quantity. So you obtain one values like this. And for the rating score, you similarly multiply 0.48 with 0.1. When you sum all of these up, you obtain the total effect of price on sales. And it is 0.42 to 0.45 is accepted. Now, the final question is to find the adjusted value of R squared. So adjusted value of R squared holds significance in multiple linear regression, because if you end up simply adding more explanatory variables, your R squared might keep on increasing, but it does not truly reflect the quality of the model. So therefore, adjusted R squared will account for this factor. And in this particular question, you are conducting a multiple linear regression with 3 explanatory variables, and you find that the R squared is 0.74 and the number of observations are 25. The question is to find the adjusted value of R squared. I think somebody has raised hand. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So just I wanted to know that the value of R squared does plays a role in deciding whether a model is significant or not.
R squared doesn't play a role. for significance, you look at the p-value or the
Yes,
p-statistic corresponding to every variable. That's what you look at.
no, but in case if the p-value says that okay, the model is significant, but from the R square we conclude about that the I mean the data, the model doesn't completely explains the, I mean, explains the data.
If you compare p value and r square is more like a subjective term. You know that if it's going to be high, it's good, but you don't know how much high, right? So you don't know that exactly. But for p value, you have a significance level, and if the p value is going to be too low, you reject the null hypothesis, and the model is significant. So you have that flexibility there with the p value, which you
So
don't
using
have with r squared.
using p-value, we can completely conclude about a model being significant or insignificant. Is it?
Yes, p-value is used, or the test statistic in any test is used to conclude whether a model is significant or not.
Okay.
So
Sir.
significance is committed purely based on the p-value here.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead. So you have the observations to be 25 in the third question, and you find that the r squared is 0.74. And as I pointed out earlier, that the importance of adjusted r squared in a multiple linear regression comes from the fact that if you simply keep on adding a lot of explanatory variables, right, the r squared would keep on increasing, but it doesn't actually reflect the quality of the model. So in order to penalize that, you have the adjusted r squared, which will give you a more realistic estimate about the model. So the way you calculate the adjusted value of r squared is you have r squared, which is 0.74, right? So 1 minus this 1 minus 0.74 into the 25 minus 1, which is 24, right? So the number of observations is 25. You multiply it by 25 minus 1 divided by 25 minus 3 minus 1. 3 here is the number of explanatory variables. So you have 3 explanatory variables. Therefore, you multiply it by 25 minus 1 divided by 25 minus 3 minus 1. And the adjusted value of r squared turns out to be 0.7 in this case. And it's slightly lower than the actual r squared value. So these were the 3 practice assignment problems from week 6. So Malolan, is professor able to join? So I think week 8 is going on right now, which is on the data envelopment analysis. And you will have a subsequent week again on data envelopment analysis to cover the remaining aspects of DEA. I think you would have looked at one aspect right now, right? 2 outputs and an input. Is that what you have looked at in week 8? And somebody maybe post in the chat or... Okay, so you will have the opposite case in week 9, where you will look at, so you will have looked at 2 outputs and an input, or I don't remember exactly the reverse. So you will have the reverse case, and you will have multiple outputs and multiple inputs in the subsequent week, right? And then what we will finally have is the prescription for the inefficient units. So now with DEA, you have found that certain units are efficient and certain units are inefficient, right? So once you know that, can you prescribe something to the inefficient units? So what should the inefficient units do in order to become efficient? So if you can suggest that, that would be great for the inefficient units, right? So therefore, the last part of week 9 or the second half of week 9 will look at this prescription for the inefficient units. And for this prescription, what you will be looking at is the dual of the linear program. So if you recall, in week 5, we had looked at linear programs and then the dual of the linear programs. So the dual values or the shadow prices will help you in estimating how should these inefficient units make their changes in order to perform better. So that is what will be covered in week 9. So let us wait for a few moments before Professor Rahul joins.
Yes, we are just resolving the issue. We found what the problem is, and we are just resolving it. Please give us some time. Yeah. In the meantime, any other questions to Shivatsa? Please go ahead. Yeah. Shivatsa, there's a chat message.
Right, I've looked at that. So the question is to look at question 5 of GA2. Is Jamini available in the call?
Jamie is not available today.
Right.
So we can post this on the
Yeah, they have posted, I
Gemini.
think, on the forum. I think so. We will talk to Jamini and get this resolved. So we'll write to him again, remind him. This is with respect to the linear regression question from week 5, right? Sorry,
True
from
positives. It
so
was
true
too
positive in the
positive.
sense it is from the linear regression question from the graded assignment 2, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. We will let him know. So, in order to wait, instead of waiting, maybe we will look at a few questions from the current week content. So maybe I can just ask you a few questions and you can answer the post your answers on the chat. So just for the time being till Professor Rahul joins. So you would have looked at DEA from week 8, right? So now suppose you are given a problem where you are comparing 5 different business units using DEA. So what is the number of linear programs you will end up solving? So what is the number of, so you are comparing 5 business units. How many optimization problems do you need to solve? You can post your answers in the chat.
All right, so we are just talking and getting the thing resolved. In the meantime, sorry for the wait for everyone. In the meantime, do you have any other questions regarding any other weeks?
So I was just looking at DEA content and maybe asking them a few questions and ask them to post on the chat so that they can revise the content.
All right, fine. Fair enough, Shivatsa.
So
I'm just coordinating with the team.
Yeah. Have you not yet gone through week 8 content? So you are given an your question is to compare 5 different business units using DEA. What is the number of linear programs you will solve? All right. So I think, so has anybody gone through week 8 content yet? Not yet, is it? I see a few of them telling they haven't gone through week 8 yet. Okay. So I think week 8 was released on Monday, right?
Yeah, it was released.
Okay. 25. Oh my God. Okay. Do we have any other answers?
Fingers crossed. Okay. Are you telling 25 into 5? Then next other 5?
Yeah. I think it is 5. So the way you do it is you have 5 different units. You will have to solve 5 different problems for each unit. So unit 1 will solve its own problem. Unit 2 will solve its own problem. Unit 3 will solve its own problem, and so on. So you will have 5 different optimization problems. If you are not yet familiar with DA, don't think we can proceed further with this. Maloran, is Professor joining?
Professor is joining. The team is just contacting sir and getting the thing sorted out. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. In the meantime, there was actually one correction in the week 7 logistic regression done for data 2, the uniform distribution, right? So there was a small error that one of our learners pointed out, was very apt pointing out. We completely missed it while doing the entire process. So I've updated the corrected version for that, and we'll be recording and putting up the updated video for that as well by the end of this week. So during the weekend, we'll do that and we'll update that. So please have a look. The error that crept in was we had to bucket the data before we can do any chi-square test. We can't do it on the data set directly. We had to bucket and then do it. So that step got missed. So we have now added it to the same data set, same code, and I've shared it with you guys. So please have a look. So that is one update with respect to week 7. This was also sent out as an announcement to everyone. It's in the tutorial, not this thing. It's the second tutorial where we talk about fitting a distribution.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead, Venu.
Sir, I have a general question related to week 2.
Week 2, okay.
So I'm facing like a problem regarding learning Sci-Fi.stat. So I want to know what is a right way and right resource to learn from. I'll give you an example. For example, in the week 2 probability plot. So stats, for example, stats is you're importing Sci-Fi.stats as stats, okay. And you say stats.prob plot, and you give different parameters. If it is a Poisson, you say dist is equal to Poisson, and you use another parameter called SPARAMS, and you give like data frame.mean and so on.
Okay.
This because I know this because you guys have shown us and I learned it. But what if it is uniform? I'm unable to because for uniform these does not work. So what should I do? Where should I learn? So this is a difficulty.
No. Like I said, okay, you're asking me about the coding part. What I would like you to do is go see the documentation of SC Sci-Fi. All right. Sci-Fi Python documentation. One second. Let me just try to pull it up right away and share that link with you guys. From this, in fact, what did I call Sci-Fi.stats, right?
Yes, sir. Sci-Fi.stats.
Yeah, Sci-Fi.stats. One second. Okay. I have shared a link in our chat. Right? Go to this. This is the documentation about the package, what it does. So here, if you go,
excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir. We did not receive it. I think.
Oh, sorry. I think it.
You need to change it to everyone.
Yeah. I think now you've got it. Yes. So this is the documentation behind the package. All right. Even we are not experts in this. Like you said, when we are preparing the code, we go through the documentation, find out what is apt for our data set, and pull it and do it. So if you go to this particular link, for example, the first thing you will see is probability distribution, whether it's a continuous district or some histograms, something of that sort. Then if it's a continuous distribution, it will tell you all the arguments that are possible for it to be put in, so on and so forth. So based on that, based on what distribution you are doing, the code will change. So like I said, the course is not focused on the code. It is just teaching you implementations using that code, nothing else. Okay. So if you have to do a deep dive for different distributions, you will have to do a self-study by seeing the documentation and trying to fit the fit for the data set, how you will proceed. And if you want to do something, one more way of doing it, in fact, we also do the same thing. When it comes to coding, we do Google how to fit a distribution using science5.stats for a uniform distribution, so on and so forth. We Google all of these stuff, get the code, see what is being done, then develop a code for our needs from that. So that is the procedure that you will have to use. There is no hard and fast rule because we are using pre-developed packages for this. We are not developing the entire code to do this on our own. We are telling this is the package, in this these parameters are needed. So from my distribution, what are those parameters? I'll push it in. Making sense?
Sure, sir. Thanks for pointing out with the link and
Yeah.
throwing some light on how to do it. I got it.
Yeah. Anything else from anyone else? Yeah, Kiran, you have raised your hand.
Good evening, sir. I think am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Go ahead.
Sir, I had a general query. It's related to quiz 1, that question of car mileage and that data interpretation question. So like in science and all, we have learned that velocity time graphs, stress strain graphs, and all pressure volume graphs. The graphs are like velocity is on the y-axis and t is on the x-axis. Pressure is on the y-axis and volume is on the x-axis. And so far, they are pretty much named like this. But here in these graphs, where the car mileage was, I'll just car mileage and car weight. So the car weight was on the x-axis and mileage was in y-axis. So why do we term it as a relationship between car weight and mileage?
Car weight and okay. So yeah,
Malalan, just a quick point. I think the support team wants us all to join back after 2 minutes. So can you end the call for everyone, and after 2 minutes, please everybody join so that Professor can.
Professor can. Yeah. Be a host.
Please join after 2 minutes.
Yeah. All of you just end the call.
We join back again
and join back. And Kiran. Martin, can you please make, sir has been made co-host. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Finally I'm here. Sorry for all the confusion. Sorry for taking a lot of time, but glad to be here.
Yes, sir. We'll just give 2 minutes for the students to rejoin, sir.
Of course, yes.
So, Professor Rahul has joined the session. I think we can get started. So we are currently in week 8 of the course, where they have been introduced to DEA. So already we have looked at linear regression, multiple linear regression, and logistic regression thus far. So that's the state of the course right now. And if you have any questions to Professor Rahul, please raise your hand and you can ask questions.
Yeah, let me also wish everyone, hello everyone. This is perhaps the first time I'm meeting you. So yeah, this is me. Glad to be here. So yeah, I would be happy to answer any questions. I would be happy to have any discussions about the course or any topic. Nothing? No comments, no suggestions, no questions?
Maybe can we start off with a discussion on that x-axis and y-axis for that supply-demand curve, which was brought up in this course, so that we can get started and maybe we'll start posting some questions.
Sure. Yeah. So we are all aware that typical supply-demand curves, Q is on the x-axis and P is on the y-axis, and then you have the one curve sloping downwards and the other curve sloping upwards, right? And the point of intersection, all that interpretation, right? What we have done is opposite. We have we have price on the x-axis and quantity on the y-axis, because it has a particular interpretation. For a single organization, not for the entire market, for the single organization, the only thing that they can control is the price at which they are going to sell the commodity. So price is controllable, right? That is the control variable, and the response variable is the demand that they are going to achieve, the demand that they are going to realize at that particular price point. Since that is the way organizations are going to work, organizations are never going to say that, let me sell 1,000 units and let me figure out what the market decides the price. Market doesn't decide the price. An organization selling the commodity says that I'm going to price my commodity at whatever, 13 rupees or $38, and then they are going to realize some demand at that particular price point. Now, when a new product is launched or in the experimental market, we can assume that they are playing around with the prices. They change the prices, and therefore they are going to see different realized demands. And therefore, we have decided to plot the demand realized on the y-axis, because that is a reaction, or that is the response from the market given the prices fixed by the organization. So that is the argument. And this is a very typical practice in revenue management. The example that we have taken is from the field called revenue management or yield management, where single organizations really what they can control are the prices, right? Now different competitors may be selling the same product at different prices. It is up to the market to realize how much demand is going to come to this organization, which is pricing it at 38 rupees, and how much demand is going to go to the other competitor, which is pricing it at 36 rupees. Right? I mean, take an example, toothpaste. So many toothpaste brands. Every toothpaste brand decides to price their product differently. That, see, generally, we are never going to say that, well, this brand is pricing it at 30 rupees. All the other brands are pricing it more than 30 rupees. Therefore, no other brand will see demand. Only this brand will see the demand. Right? Essentially, it is not going to happen that everybody will come and buy this 30 rupee toothpaste. Even if there is a toothpaste which is selling at 50 rupee, people may want to buy that. There are going to be some people who are going to buy that. That's what we are saying. At 50 rupee price point, how much demand is going to be seen by that particular brand? Is that an okay explanation?
Yes, sir. I think it was. So do anybody have any other questions? I see a lot of people who are generally active on discourse in this call. Maybe if you have any questions, you can ask Professor now. I think Kiran has a question. Yes, go ahead, Kiran.
Yes, sir. I just good evening, sir, and good evening to other people on the call. So I just wanted to continue with my question, which I had earlier before the call got disconnected. That in science, like we are generally studied graphs of pressure, velocity, pressure, volume graphs, velocity, time graphs, and stress strain curves and all, where what the uh, like velocity is on the y-axis and time is on the x-axis and pressure is on the y-axis and volume is on the x-axis. So here the question which we had got in the quiz, like the mileage was on the y-axis and car weight was on the x-axis. So why do we call it, and in the options, like the right answer is relationship between car weight and mileage. So why is it termed uh, like that? And I was just confused because of this.
Yes, sir. So this is with respect to the quiz. So, sir, can I answer it?
Yeah, go ahead, Malalan, please.
Yeah. So in the quiz, the graph, usually why we put weight on the x-axis and mileage on the y-axis is weight is going to be controlled by the organization, and for that weight, what mileage they are getting is what they are measuring. So in that perspective, the given the known quantity is on the x, and the variable quantity, which is your y, is on the y-axis. All right. So that is why we plotted the graph as so. Now coming to the options, we just said it's a relationship. So the relationship, I can tell it in any order, right? Whether it's a relationship between weight and mileage or mileage and weight, it's the same thing, correct? It's going to give you the same inference. So that is why it was given as such in the quiz. So both would be the same. We are just talking about relationships.
Okay, so sir, it doesn't have to do with the specific nomenclature of it. Like we also say relationship between pressure and volume, where pressure is on the y-axis and volume is on the x-axis. So it is nothing.
Yeah, so even in those graphs, the relationship is going to be the same. Now, whether you interchange it, the relationship does not change, correct?
Yes, so it has nothing to do with the specific nomenclature.
Correct, it has nothing to do with the specific nomenclature. Usually in a graph, you put the x-axis as the quantity that is controllable, and the y-axis the quantity that is observed. General practice.
Yes, sir. I actually got confused in this, and because of this thinking of mine, I just searched for the options where car weight was on the x-axis and relationship. I just took it as the specific nomenclature that it has to be.
It's not necessary.
So, sir, considering you, price is under our controllable thing. So, price would be on x-axis.
No, that is a different scenario, no, sir. This is with respect to that question, sir. Price demand curve.
Yeah, as I explained, any organization can only play around with the price. They cannot play around with the demand that they are going to realize. Demand realized is not going to be in their hand, and the only thing controllable is the price. Therefore, price goes on the x-axis. That's what we have been saying.
Yes, sir. It was in the lectures also, probably of week 2.
Correct. It was in the x-axis only, no? Price was in the x-axis, correct? Okay. Kiran, your hand is still raised. Do you have any other questions?
No, sir. It's by me.
Anyone else? Anything else?
Yes, sir. Can I ask?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
This is related to graded assignment. So, in graded assignment, there is a question about how many true positives is the model predicting. So I have watched the videos, but there was nothing said about true positives, and I am following the thread in discourse also. There are also no reply from the team. So can you help? What is true positive?
This is with the graded assignment question number 5.
Yes.
Yeah. Please tag Gemini. He will come and respond over there, because I I see a confusion saying that it was not there originally, it is now added. Those discussion on what was doing. So we are not sure what has happened. Jeremy would be the right person to answer this question. So unfortunately, he was not able to make it to the call today. Please tag him and in that post, and he will get back to you as soon as possible. Hopefully by tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Any other questions with respect to the course content for sir?
Yes, sir. One more question I would like to ask. That is, in the demand response curve, there was a curve in which the demand was increasing as the price was increasing. In what kind of products does this is seen?
Okay. In the example that we would have discussed in the session, this would not have happened. Yes, Manu Kumar, those are luxury goods. Those are called giffen goods. Okay. Yes. So it does happen for a particular class of goods. Okay. Yes, as somebody pointed out, GIFFEN, giffen goods. Okay.
Okay. Mercedes, Rolex. Okay. Super luxury goods.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Because their price decides their exclusivity.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Sir, I believe our course content is very clear, so that we are not getting any questions.
Yeah, I either that or nothing is clear at all.
Right.
So, I mean, I have no question, or where do I start?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
Venu. Go ahead.
Hi, sir. My name is Venu.
Hi.
Firstly, thanks for the amazing content, sir. I mean, in my mind, you are number one so far. You toppled Professor Arun Rajkumar. I like your simple, clear, practical, and sometimes cutthroat style of teaching. So,
Thank you.
and I have a specific question. I mean, it's a general question. I see something called as data analyst and something called as business analyst. And I see kind of what are the skills needed for an intern in these two categories, even job at large. And I always get confused or mixed up. Is there like, can you just tell me the difference in actual between data analyst and a business analyst, the roles, responsibilities, and so on?
Okay. In my mind, I have a differentiation. However, every organization uses these terms the best way they understand the term, right? Which is right now different. To me, a business analyst has a simple job, right? Business analyst's job is to be able to talk to business managers on one side and data scientists on the other side, right? Business analyst job is to essentially translate a business problem into a language that a data scientist can understand. That, according to me, is a business analyst. Would Malolan or Srivatsa venture a comment? Srivatsa works in analytics industry, so he would probably give us more insights.
Yeah, that would be right, Professor. So the interpretation is the important component for a business analyst. So how they position the problem or how they analyze it. So that could be.
And data analysts are essentially data specialists, right?
Right.
They need not be working on the business side of things.
Yes, not so. I think they're more like data engineers or something of that sort.
Makes sense. Okay. Does it help you, Venu?
Sure, sir. I can see a kind of similarity in the software industry also. We have like the project manager who has a business analyst under him, I mean, this is software business analyst, not who would communicate with clients. He himself also communicates with clients and gets all the business requirements and communicates to other end of the team, which is technical team. It may be iOS development team or different Android development team. And I think he acts as a bridge. Maybe that is what I can like infer. And
yes, but you will have to take these words more generically, because a lot of organizations seems to be using them in different ways.
All right, sir. Thank you for the explanation and the clarity, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anything else?
Probably too late in the day.
Usually, no, sir. Their day just starts. They have back-to-back sessions starting from 7 I think. Today at 8 they will have something.
Come on,
else.
this is Friday evening. Give them a break.
No, also tomorrow we have 2 OP exams.
Oh,
okay.
okay. Exams. Okay.
I mean, also, I think most of them don't know that professor will be coming. I think.
We sent out an announcement.
Or not in the discourse or somewhere, right? Only email.
No, email. The general
okay.
announcement, we sent it out. Yeah.
Okay.
If you put it in the Discord, there's a complaint that only a few people read it. So
oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, we sent out the announcement via email to everyone.
But yeah, you tell me that we have plenty of questions to answer, and I will come often. No problem.
True, sir.
I mean, the content itself is very less precise, concise. I cannot say less, concise and clear. And I don't know. That's why maybe people are not asking so many questions in discourse and also before you came, sir, some of the students have asked their questions too. That way they got clarified also, I guess.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we are not forcing you to ask questions, but we are here to answer questions if there are any. That's the whole point. So essentially, never sleep with a doubt in your mind. Make sure that you have asked your doubt, then wait for somebody to respond. This session is essentially to respond all those doubts. That's the point.
So even if you feel that you have any questions from the discourse that you would like to discuss with sir, since in the discourse myself, Srivatsa, Swaminathan or Jamie answer, maybe if you want to have a discussion with sir, you can go ahead from those contents as well.
I have one question directly to the end of this course, end exam. So what kind of questions to expect? Because a lot of the calculations from later weeks are dependent on Excel sheets. So what to expect from the end exam point of view? Because we had a prediction with BDM course how it would be, but here we are a little unsure.
Okay, I believe I should answer this question. So can I go ahead, sir?
Yes, please. Yes.
All right. Okay. So we are preparing. We will give you a mock. All right. So that should clarify most of your doubts how the questions will be. What we will try to do is we will maybe try to give you a result. As an example, it's just popping out of my head since you asked me this question. We might give you a result and ask you to interpret that result. You may not need to do the calculations in Excel. That is done during your assignment piece, how to develop a calculation, get the result. We might now give you a result and ask you to interpret it. Making sense? So that would be a kind of questions for the exam that you can expect. But more clarity on this will come during the mock. So we will give you a mock and we will give you a intern. Okay.
And I assume the distribution would be equal among the weeks, or will there be any more weightage on later weeks?
That we have not yet decided.
Okay.
To be very honest with you, not yet decided. We'll talk with the sir and then we'll decide.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure. Okay, so we have only 5 more minutes for today. Okay, Kiran, go ahead.
Sir, it is more of a operational question that I have, or the time spent and all that got updated on the dashboard, but I'm not very convinced of the fact that I have just spent only 8 minutes on discourse, and and the post read count is like 36 posts, and I'm pretty much active on it, but I don't really understand like how I've calculated that.
You might have to write to the support team, online degree support team. They only do all of these calculations. We have no idea, to be very honest with you, how those calculations and numbers are crunched behind.
Yes, sir, because I'm pretty not that much active, but yeah, I do ask questions and answer also, but I'm not really convinced of the numbers that they have put on our dashboard.
Yeah,
So,
just write to the course team, not course support team. That would be us, to the degree program, right? So write to them, and they might be able to help you out here.
okay, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Usually, during our live sessions, we have a lot of questions from the week's content. Today, we don't have any.
It may be also because they have exam tomorrow and they may be mentally occupied with the exam.
Also, I have one possibly a feedback or a maybe discussion also, since we still have time.
Sure.
We have like 3 assignments taking the bulk of the score for the grade, and we don't have a room to stretch at all. So, is there a way possibility in the remaining till we have 4 more weeks of content? Can we have one makeup to stretch our chest, because it is close to 40 marks, and we don't have room to stretch at all?
It was not very clear what you were asking me.
See, we have 3 assignments, totally up to 40 marks, and you do one mistake, that's it, gone. That marks you're never going to recover. So, is it not feasible to have one additional where we have like some cushioning of 10, at least 10 marks, or 10 even 5?
We do assignments, we do give you a lot of time, right? So you can spend the time to solve it.
Yeah, but I understand, but still, but once you're done mistakes, you learn, but there is no option to make up for that. I mean, you compare it to any other, you have those rooms to stretch. Here, I think it's a big chunk of the marks which you get only one shot.
Yes, sir. Actually, I also second that opinion. And in previous term, like we had PDM, where they considered best 3 out of 5 assignments. But here we have just like 3 assignments, and if one mistake also you do, and the number of questions also less in this, so it becomes a little tough.
Okay, one request from my end would be, I do not know if sir has to, since sir has to second this, but before sir, I might answer. Please do not compare BDM and BA. There are 2 different approaches. This is more of a mathematics-driven course. That is more of more discussion, application-driven course. This is mathematics, application-driven course. So there will be a difference. But yeah.
Yeah, if you see, take stats, maths, all the courses you have, the best 6.
Correct. So that is what I'm trying to say. Stats, maths, those are basic fundamentals. This is now at a diploma level. Then you are going at degree level. The level is increasing, right?
Yeah,
so
I know,
obviously we can't keep giving you slack everywhere. You will have to be more precise. To be my argument.
higher flexibility also. At the moment, we have 0. So 0 is also not very.
Actually, you don't. You do have bonus marks for attending live sessions, bonus mark for discourse. You have 3 assignments. You have 2 opportunities to take quiz 1. You have given 1 end term again. So I believe there is flexibility. You are expecting more flexibility. Assignments, we have not given you flexibility. We have given you flexibility in terms of quiz. You want as a flexibility also in assignment. So at one place we are just cutting it down so that you come to the next level. That would be my argument. But yeah, sir is the ultimate person. Maybe sir can.
Sir, can I add something here? So basically, it's not about comparison between one course and another. It's about scoring marks in this course itself. The format of the whatever you have given us, it is what it is. That's the first thing. I think somebody else was like just making a request. Is it possible for another makeup assignment so that because the thing is the format of the assignments are such that it requires a lot of attention and precision. If he makes some silly mistake or other, the result or the effect is huge. So for example, the quiz 1, there is a trick question and you answer that wrong and you answer one more that wrong, your score is 60. Same goes to the level of the questions and the effect of those questions. So it is very rigorous. That's what it is. So most of the, not most, some of the students are finding it difficult. And that's why they are asking for some makeup assignment or something.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Concerns understood. We will think about it. We'll surely think about it. If something, some flexibility can be added, we will definitely discuss with the online degree team also. We will think about it, surely. Cannot guarantee anything because this is a joint decision with everybody and online degree program. Essentially, what we have been following, if I remember correctly, this was the discussion that we had with the online degree program team also, right, at the beginning of the course, that we were going to give so many assignments, we were going to give so many quizzes, right? So we have essentially not deviated from what we had discussed at the beginning of the course, even before the course started. So any change in the current format will again have to be discussed, debated. So we will come back. I'm not guaranteeing that it will happen. I'm not also saying that it will not happen. If there is a possibility, we'll do it.
Sure, sir. Thank you. It's just a request, sir, and nothing else. Because
agree. Point taken. Point taken.
Yeah. So just to add extra point, like the pattern is such that let's say the assignment 1 itself, there were basically 2 problem statements divided into half. And if you make a mistake in the first one, you forget rest of the answer going to be wrong. That's how they do. That's how it was. And you can also observe some of them were not confident with their answers, and some of them have given certain answers and chosen the opposite answer in the later part to balance it out and at least try to get 2-3 out of it. So they have done it. You can observe the pattern if you want. I've seen people commenting about it. So there is such a low confidence answers given. Some have been lucky, some have been really on the bad side of it.
Yeah, understood. And with regards to the quiz, yes, we have taken those comments into consideration for quiz 2. So we have made some modifications in the quiz 2 with respect to the number of questions, the weightage, and all of those stuff. So that comment has been taken into consideration. Like Sir said, we will have a discussion with Sir and the online degree team, and we'll see what we can do. All right. Anything else? We are actually over time now. So I believe there are no more questions, sir. Thank you for joining, and sorry for the inconvenience caused in the beginning to you, sir. And
yeah. Sorry for that trouble. So thank you, everyone. Let's hope that this session was useful. If there are any more questions, keep sending them. We will definitely answer. The entire team, essentially, we will make sure that your questions are answered.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, those who have exams tomorrow, best wishes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
14, we can end the call.